everyone. Welcome to Adventures and Comprehension. My name is Ciera Harris, and I am the author behind Ciera Harris Teaching. So tonight we're going to talk about what is the gradual release model. We're going to break it down, and then we're going to talk at the very end about the benefits of using this exact model. So grab a seat, grab a drink, and come and join me. And if you haven't already, drop a comment below and let me know that you're here. Let me know what grade you're teaching and where you're from, and I can't wait to hear from you. So tonight we're going to break down what is the gradual release model, and again, like I said, talk about those benefits. In very simple terms, the gradual release model is a basic lesson structure. That's it. So if you're thinking about planning out your reading lesson, let's say you've got 25 minutes to teach comprehension, then your lesson would fit into this gradual release model. So in that 25 minutes, you would do all of the components, just like a mini lesson. A mini lesson is a structure. Mini lessons aren't called mini lessons because they're short. It's the structure behind them. It's the, the connection, the teacher model, the guided, the link, all those like 5 or 6 pieces that are in the mini lesson components. Though that makes the mini lesson structure. So just like that, the gradual release model is a lesson structure. It has 3 parts. Now, I'm going to say it has 4 parts, and I'll tell you why in a second. But typically, the gradual release model would have 3 parts. It has an I do, a we do, and a you do. Okay? The I do is I, the teacher. I am modeling, and we're going to break this down here more in just a minute. But I do is all about the teacher. We do is clearly the teacher and the class together. And you do is the students do it on their own. I like to break down the we do into 2 parts. I call it I do, we do, you do. No, I don't change the name for it, okay? My students just knew that there were 2 we do's. Here's why. The first we do is teacher guided. The second we do is small groups. And not small groups as you're thinking of like centers and rotations. I'm talking like I break the kids up into like, partners or, 5 or 6 groups for like 10 minutes to do the activity as I'm walking around. And they're all doing kind of the same activity. Not small groups as guided reading stuff, okay? I want to make sure I clarify that. So let's break this down a little bit more. Let's talk about each of those 3 components, the I do, the we do, and the you do, and kind of what takes place in each of them. So I want you to kind of envision in your mind a 25-minute reading comprehension lesson. I'm teaching main idea today, and I want to use the gradual release model in this lesson. What do these components actually include in them in the I do, we do, you do? Here's what that would look like. So the I do would begin the lesson. In the I do, you have these following components. The teacher would first introduce the objective. So boys and girls, today we're going to be talking all about identifying main idea and details, blah, 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 blah. Clearly you can make it a lot more fun than that, but the objective needs to be stated. Students need to know what they're about to learn and practice. Then you may do some review very, very fast, like 60 seconds, review what they maybe know about main idea, review what you've taught already about main idea, whatever that looks like. If you've got an anchor chart that you've been building, go over the anchor chart, go over whatever visuals you've been using, and then you're going to walk through the lesson today. Today, boys and girls, we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. It's always good to give your students a little outline of what's about to come for the next 20, 30 minutes, because especially for your students who maybe have some anxiety or look forward to playing games. Maybe you've got a game built into the we do. It gives them something to look forward to and know what's coming up. So I always like to give them like a quick little outline of the lesson. It takes 10 seconds to say it, and it makes a big difference. So I give them a quick little like, hey, this is what's coming up in the lesson. And then the final piece is me starting the lesson by modeling. So I would grab my text and I would put it under the document camera, and I would sit down in my little chair in front of the students, and I get at least 2 to 3 minutes to model out loud the expectations of whatever objective we are doing. So if the objective of the lesson is to identify 3 supporting details to the given main idea, then that's what I'm modeling. I am modeling reading a short text. I am modeling the thinking out loud. What needs to happen up here? What questions do I ask? What visuals can I use or look at around the room? How do I, what can I analyze in the actual text? Like what can I underline or annotate in the text to help me find these details? And then how do I get to that final answer? So they need to see that process from beginning to end without interruption. They need to see me reading the text, clearly a very short text. They need to see my thinking out loud. Okay, what's going on here? So I got to find details to support the main idea. I've got my anchor chart right there to help me. Okay, so I'm going to read this text and I'm going to try to figure out, blah, blah, blah. You are thinking out loud. It needs to be you, all about you. No students' questions, no students raising their hands. This 2 or 3 minutes, it's like spotlight on you. You are showing off the thinking that takes place to meet this objective. Takes 3 minutes tops, okay? That's it. All of that can be done in 5 minutes. That lesson introduction, review objective, modeling, I'm saying them out of order, going over the anchor chart and explaining the lesson for the day or what's coming up for that 25, 30 minutes. That right there takes 5 minutes tops. Okay, that's I do. Then you get into the first we do. So the first we do is the teacher guided. You get up out of your seat and you're talking to your students and you're going to discuss. Okay, what did you just see me model? Now you're finally talking to your students. Now they can actually start communicating with you and collaborating with you. What did you see me model? How did I use the anchor chart? What kind of thinking took place when I was doing the activity? What kind of questions did I ask myself? Did I make a mistake? How did I fix my mistake? What did I just model for you? Make sure they understand that. Then you're going to get out the same activity, but different text. And you're going to do it again. You're going to read the text down with the students, and you're going to walk them through it where they're allowed to raise hands and answer questions. This is a great time to clarify their thinking, to let them ask questions. You ask questions. You make sure that they know how to use the anchor chart or visual or steps that you've given them. Okay, this is a guided practice. We're all working on one activity that's on the board, right? Again, this we do is 5 minutes long, tops. 5 minutes. We're doing the activity nice and quick, okay? Now that I've modeled for it, and now that we've done it together, now we're going to do it in small groups. So I have copies for everyone, and we're going to pass them out, and I'm going to let you, find 3 other partners, or I'm going to number you off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the 1's here, 2's here, 3's here. However you want to group your kids. There are 1,000 ways. There's no wrong answer. Do it in partners. Doesn't matter. You want to put them into groups and give them time to work on the activity. The activity should be the same thing. Different text, same activity, okay? So if it's a graphic organizer, let's say you modeled a graphic organizer for main idea. That same graphic organizer is what you do in the first we do. That same graphic organizer is what they do in their we do. You don't change the activity. This is one of the great benefits of the gradual release model. Everything needs to completely align because the whole point of this is I am trying to get you to meet this objective. I just modeled how to meet this objective with this organizer. Did I not? Okay, then you don't want to change it and say, I want you to do some kind of sorting activity. That doesn't make sense. I modeled the thinking about an organizer. You need to let them do the organizer. So all that needs to change is the text, okay? So you put them into groups, give them time. This is where you're walking around, you're supporting groups, you are giving help where needed. You can even differentiate here. This is where differentiation easily comes in. If you know you've got higher kids who this is going to be too easy for them, then you give them a more difficult passage, okay? It's that simple. Harder passage. Going to take them a lot harder to read, harder comprehension, harder to fill out the graphic organizer. Maybe you have a group that's lower and that's going to struggle. You give them an easier text. Same graphic organizer, easier text. I can differentiate super easy in this little part of my lesson, and they're all still meeting the same objective. So easy. I love it. So In this second part of the we do, this is called the student guided we do. The teacher's walking around. This should take about 10 minutes. 10 minutes meaning from the start of you passing everything out, getting the students into groups, giving them time to read the text, do the activity, and then discuss it and go over it. Everyone back to their seats. We're going to discuss. Let's look at, how bring up student papers real fast. Make sure everyone's on the same page. We're on the right page. We all have the right answers. That kind of thing. And then the last part of the lesson is the you do. We have now done this objective 3 times. I modeled it. We did it together. You did it in groups. I've given you support for the last 20 minutes. Let's see what stuck with you. What can you do? What can you not do? Now, this is independent time. You give them their exit ticket where they are reading a text and they are filling out their quick graphic organizer. They should be able to read that quick text, do their thing in 5 minutes. In that they can't get it done in 5 minutes, they turn it in anyways. It should take them 5 minutes. You modeled it in 5 minutes, they should be able to do it in 5 minutes. If it's not being able to done in 5 minutes, then you need to break down your lessons a little bit more. Then it's too much learning in one lesson. So that's a kind of a good little way to see if you're teaching too much at one time. If an exit ticket can't be done in 5 minutes or less, then it's too much learning at one time, or your exit ticket has way too much on it. So again, your exit ticket should mirror exactly what you modeled. So if I modeled a graphic organizer, their exit ticket shouldn't be underlining things in a text. Their exit ticket should be a graphic organizer. So that whole alignment is one of the big benefits of the gradual release model. Hey everyone, so sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure that you are loving the content coming from Ciera Harris Teaching on YouTube. So make sure if you are loving this to subscribe and also like and comment below. I would love to hear from you. So that is basically the gradual release model. I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face. Can you tell? There are so many benefits to using this type of lesson structure. Let's quickly go through those before we say goodbye for the night. Number 1, biggest benefit of all, it truly allows time for students to see modeling of teachers' thinking. This is the number 1 benefit, period. They have to see what happens in your brain in order to be successful for the objective that you've laid out for them. Okay? And it's not a time for you to talk to or with your students. It's a time for you to show the steps from beginning to end without interruption so they can see the whole process in black and white. So this is so important. Number 2, I've said it already, but a benefit is the alignment of the activities and materials. If you don't want to be all over the place and you want to make sure your students are successful by the end of your lesson, make sure everything's aligned. And if you do that in the gradual release model and you keep everything kind of like copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste all the way through, then you're going to be more successful with that alignment. Number 3, it provides structured support with teacher-guided time and small group time. So the differentiation, if you're like, I don't know when to differentiate because, I'm teaching whole group and then I'm in small groups, and when do I actually differentiate in my day? Well, I've just given you a great 10-minute opportunity to differentiate both for your high and your low kids, no matter what subject area you're in. If you follow the gradual release model, it allows you easily to differentiate for your students, and it provides tons of scaffolded teacher support for your entire class throughout the entire lesson. Number 4, it allows independent time for teachers to gather data. I always say you should never teach a lesson without an exit ticket at the end, because then why did you teach the lesson? If you can't walk away from that lesson knowing what every single one of your students got and didn't get, then you didn't teach the lesson. There's no point. It's like reading a book without understanding and comprehending. There was no point in reading the book. So make sure that you have got that exit ticket at the end every single time. And the gradual release model, if you use all 4 pieces or all 3 pieces, then the you do is the exit ticket. It's there. It's embedded in it. And then finally, number 5, and this is a big one too, it keeps focus on one objective. I know a lot of times seeing teachers kind of scattered all over the place. They'll teach main idea, but then they go off on a tangent with sequencing, and then they're talking about determining importance or whatever it may be, and it just kind of was a little scattered. The gradual release model keeps you aligned. This is one objective for 25 minutes. This is what we're focusing on. Boom. It is completely aligned, and this is all we are focusing on. This is all we're teaching today in this 25 minutes. So, lots of great benefits for you, lots of great benefits for all of your students, no matter their need or level. And it's kind of like just a few little words you need to add in your plan book. When you've got your comprehension section, write, I do, we do, you do. When you're in your math section, write, I do, we do, you do. Same thing for every subject area. It absolutely can take place. More so in reading, I believe, than any other subject area, but it can happen in the others too with lots of benefits. So if you have any further questions about gradual release model, let me know. Type those below and I'm happy to get back with you. But hopefully I've convinced you. And I think truly this is not an old way of teaching in any way, shape, or form. All those creative things and the things that people are saying you should be doing instead clearly can be embedded into this, because this is simply a lesson structure. It's not a curriculum model or anything weird like that. It's just a structure. What you do in these components, that's up to you. How creative you get with that, that's up to you. The I do, we do, you do is simply a stupendous way to present material to set your students up for success. Who wouldn't want that? All right? All right, friends. Well, that's what I've got for you tonight. I'm so excited that you decided to join. Make sure to comment below and let me know what you think about the gradual release model, what questions you have, what your biggest takeaway was. I can't wait to hear it. Don't leave without giving me a good comment below to let me know what that is. All right? Take care until then. Thanks, friends. Bye.